Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel again. Today we are going to solve the Forest, which is an Active Directory focused Windows machine. Before we touch exploitation, before we run BloodHound, so we are going to run the port enumeration. We'll scan all ports at this stage. So nmap all ports and scan is this one. Of course we need to remove this. And I'm going to extract the open port using this command, and if I print this, perfect. And I'm going to do version detection and default script and targeted service scan using this, and then I just need to 162.1. So it is default script and service detection, and it is from our extracted ports, and OA is we can save the output name targeted. So we can review this further. So if we analyze the nmap result, it looks to be the domain controller. So first of all, the DNS. So DNS is extremely useful in Active Directory. Windows domain clients rely on DNS to locate domain controllers and services such as Kerberos. I think I can just less targeted map. So and Kerberos and LDAP. And so and then Kerberos is also the primary authentication protocol in Active Directory. And when domain users log in, request service tickets, or access domain services, Kerberos is often involved. So seeing port 88 means the host is acting as a Kerberos key distribution center, or KDC. In Active Directory, the KDC role runs on domain controllers. This immediately makes us think about Kerberos-based attacks later, such as ASREP roasting, Kerberos-sting, pass the ticket, and more. So LDAP 4389 is one of the biggest clues. LDAP is the protocol used to query Active Directory objects. Through LDAP, we can open enumerate users, groups, computers, organization units, service principal names, and domain policy, ACL information, and more. So, and furthermore, so we can also check that the nmap identifies this port as Microsoft Windows Active Directory LDAP. So this is also a very strong sign that the machine is domain controller. So port 445 is SMB. SMB is used for file sharing, named pipes, and many Windows RPC operations. On a domain controller, SMB commonly exposes important shares like syspoll, netlogon, IPC, admin, C. Syspoll and netlogon are especially domain controller specific. Later, SMB will help us enumerate domain users anonymously with tools like RPC Client, CrackWeb exec, netexec, and enum for Linux. And we can find that port 5985 is opened, which is WinRM. So WinRM stands for Windows Remote Management. This matters later because after we get valid credentials, we may be able to log in with either WinRM. So, and mmap open gives host script results such as the domain name HTTP local, first name HTTP local, and computer name Forest, and more. So at this stage, I would like to add the Forest HTTP local and HTTP local on etc host. So the IP address, I think I can remove this and add this, correlate this with Forest HTTP local, and so this means that when I ask for forest.htp.local or http.local, send me to 10.129.162.1. So Active Directory is heavily dependent on DNS and names, and Kerberos especially is sensitive to host names, domains, and service principal names. So it is good for these domain names can be resolved to the target IP address. So now that you have identified this machine as Active Directory domain controller, the next thing we want is a valid username list. Why? Because in Active Directory, usernames are the entry point for many attacks. With valid usernames, we can test for AS-REP roasting, password spraying, Kerberos later after credentials, SMB authentication, WinRM access, BloodHound collection after compromise. For this specific machine, user enumeration is especially important because our next attack is going to be AS-REP roasting. AS-REP roasting requires valid usernames. If we do not have usernames, we do not know who to test. So our goal is like use anonymous RPC SMB access to enumerate domain users and save them into a text file. So earlier, mmap showed that the port 445 is open, which is SMB. SMB is not only for file shares. On Windows and Active Directory systems, SMB also exposes name pipes that can be used for access RPC interfaces. So first thing we are going to test is whether we can connect without a username password and ask the domain controller for users. So RPC client this specifies the username, and this is empty username. So and flag tells us like do not prompt for a password, and the IP address is 10. C flag tells RPC client to run a command and then exit, and the command we are going to run is user. So this asks the domain controller to enumerate domain users. So this full command means connect anonymously to the target IP address over RPC and ask it to list domain users. To M users. Perfect. So it tells us that we can list valid domain users without credentials. That means we can build a valid username list for Kerberos testing. So what is the username? It is the inside the square bracket, and this is the value we care about for ASREP roasting. And RID is relative identifier. So RID has hexadecimal value, and so if we navigate this, we can find the SPC alfresco. So SPC usually means service account, and service accounts are often high value because they are frequently created for applications configured with stable passwords or misconfigured. And so we can test this too. However, we can use another method like automated assembly enumeration. Crack map and as the tools to enumerate users, empty username, empty password. So this also tells us the anonymous login worked well enough for enumeration. So we can save these users into text file. So I'm going to use RPC client again and enum to m users. So I filter this and so this \k make it forget everything matches so far, like user colon bracket, and then So it'll match one or more characters until the right bracket, and then sort. So if I cat users, perfect. So we can check, like, extract only the users there. So now we are going to run get mp users against this text file. So it means that we are going to perform the ASREP roasting. So this attack is powerful because in the right condition, we can obtain a crackable Kerberos hash without knowing the user's password. The condition is the user has Kerberos pre-authentication disabled. In Active Directory, this is controlled by a user account flag called DONT underscore REQ underscore PREAUTH. If this flag is enabled, the domain controller may return encrypted AS-REP material for that user without first requiring proof that we know the password. That encrypted material can be cracked offline. So our methodology is valid usernames and ask Kerberos if any user does not require pre-authentication, and capture the ASREP hash and crack this with hashcat and recover plain text password. So the comment will be impacted get mp users. So this is an impacted tool used for ASREP roasting. The name is important, and get mp users is like get no pre-auth users. It checks which users do not require Kerberos pre-authentication. In simple terms, the tool asks the domain controller for each username I provide. So I like for you to give us ASREP material. So, and the domain should be HTB broker, and so this tells Impacted exactly which domain controller to talk to. So I think users file users. This tells get mp users to test every username in our file. So, and then this means do not ask for a password and do not try to authenticate without a password. This is one of the most important flags in ASREP roasting. We are specifically testing whether the KDC key distribution center will return encrypted ASREP material without requiring pre-authentication. So, and the format hashcat. This tells Impacted to print the output in a format hashcat understands. And output file ASRP hash. This saves any returned ASRP hashes into a file. So what get mp users is doing internally is get mp users with usernames from text file. For each username, it sends an ASREQ to the key distribution center, and the KDC checks whether that user requires pre-authentication. If it's required, the KDC refuses to give crackable ASREP material. If pre-auth is disabled, the KDC returns ASREP material encrypted with the user's password-derived key. So in packet formats that encrypted material as a hash that can be cracked in Hashcat. So we can perform this. In packet get MP users is not, it is like in packet. So we have successfully grabbed the cache. It says like the user looks like SPC alfresco, and we can use this. So we can crack this. Before this we can like copy and paste this part and check the hashcat, which mode that we need to use. Hashcat. It looks like we could try this for this. So modis, maybe I can like so the by SPC alfresco hashes. Maybe we can even just before I think share user list, share word list, and so it looks like this is the password, and we can save this somewhere. ID is SPC alfresco. So now we have recovered the password, and then we can validate the credential. So run exec and smb and 162.1 user is and password is perfect. So this means that the authentication succeeded, and we can also validate using crack map. So we can validate that it is successful. So we can also validate the WinRM access with this too. So if the account is also allowed to use WinRM, we can use evil WinRM to get an interactive PowerShell shell. So nxc WinRM. I think it should be like this. Perfect. And then we can also validate. Perfect. So the WinRM authentication succeeds, so we can proceed to enable WinRM. So we can enable WinRM is a tool for interactive WinRM shells. So we can get the shell like this. So who am I? SVC Alfresco, and host name is Forest, and current directory is documents, and dir ls. And now we can start the BloodHound. So this is Active Directory, so in order to analyze better, BloodHound should be useful. So we need to map relationships from SVC Alfresco to high value objects at this stage. So like this. So we can run this from target domain is HTB local. So we can run BloodHound Python. It is a Python-based BloodHound collector. It calls Active Directory remotely using LDAP, SMB, RPC, and related mechanisms depending on the collection type. Target domain and username, password, and domain controller hostname, and the DNS server to use. So since the target also has like port 53 open, so we can use this, and I think collect all information and see, compress the output so we can import this to BloodHound better. So we can run the BloodHound at this stage. So the username will be neo4j, neo4j in general. And we can import this. This is JSON file, upload data, this. clear finished. So we search this and mark user as owned. So you can run the shortest path to high value target. So I can, this is the owned user. So it says member of service account, member of privilege, and member of account operators, HTB local, and generate all. And basically write the ACL means I can edit who has rights over this object. So if Exchange Windows permissions has write the ACL over the domain object, members of that group that can potentially grant themselves or another useful powerful domain level right. So the idea is, right, if you have write the ACL over domain, we can modify the domain access control list so we can grant DCSync replication rights, and we can dump the domain hashes for like privilege escalation. It is the member of this, member of this, member of this, and and since SPC Alfresco is member of account operators, the user also can become a member of Exchange Windows permissions. So it says like the generic all. So since we have generic all for Exchange Windows permissions, so we can allow these users to add the user itself to Exchange Windows permissions group. So at this point, BloodHound has shown us two important facts: that Exchange Windows permissions has write the ACL over HTTP local, and SPC Alfresco can add itself to Exchange Windows permissions through account operators. So BloodHound showed us that this account has a path through service account, privileged IT accounts, account operators, and that path allows us to modify the membership of Exchange Windows permissions. So it goes to like write the ACL to like HTB local object. So that is the stepping stone toward DCSync. So this section is about we're going to add SPC alfresco to Exchange Windows permissions at this stage. So here now we're going to net group Exchange Windows permissions. So net group is a Windows command used to view or modify domain groups, and Exchange Windows permissions is the target group, and SPCR Fresco is the user, and we want to add this user, and this let us modify the domain group. So comment successfully, and we can exit and reconnect. And if we run this, we can find that the users find so we can find that change Windows permissions display as expected, and so at this stage, so we would like to load the PowerView. PowerView is a PowerShell based Active Directory enumeration and abuse toolkit. It is part of the Parsploit project. It gives us functions for querying and modifying AD objects, including getDomainUser, getDomainGroup, and more. So the function we care about here is addDomainObject ACL. The function can modify an AD object's ACL. In this machine, we use it to modify the ACL of HTB local. So we can find that the downloads, I downloaded the PowerView there. So inside upload home, documents, so upload is successful, so we can load this. So load all functions from PowerView into the current PowerShell session. So we can check, verify whether it is successful. Perfect. Mm, so we can grant the SPC RPress co-user DCSync right. So what DCSync right is, DCSync requires replication rights on the domain object. So if we grant this right to SPC RPressco, then SPC RPressco can ask the domain controller for replicated password material. So inside PowerShell, we can create an object for SPC RPressco. So password. So this converts the plain text password into a secure string object. So PowerShell credential objects expects the password as a secure string. And cred. This creates a credential object that Power BI can use for LDAP operations. So now run at domain object ACL credential is cred, target domain is HTB local, target identity is DC. So target this and principal identity this is the user that will receive the rights and write DCSync and verbose access is denied. I think it is also gone. Then I think I can redo the process again and exit as fast as possible. Exit and we connect. Sorry, I think it is too stupid. And power view and this and grant DCSync and this. Perfect. So the most important line is this. So this is like domain user RID, relative ID, LM hash, and NTLM hash. So the value we care about is the NTLM hash. So the important thing is we can authenticate using NTLM hash directly. So I can save this somewhere and this and we can use impact kit. This is performs remote command execution over SMB and administrator, and hashes will be D1. I think it fits right, so I think we can use both. This, if there are 6, yes. So who am I? We have like system level execution on the domain controller, which is the root shell. So using this impact kit command, we can get the root shell. So I hope this video was helpful, and see you in the next video.